Okay, so welcome back to those of you who were with us yesterday and also this morning's session, which was in the specific subject of economy, finance, and business administration. Now we are entering the subject session on social studies and education. I'm really glad that we have such a wide number of participants from various universities in Bulgaria and the UK. And I'm, of course, more than glad to have our colleague from the Bulgarian Academy of Science, Professor Alexei Pamporov, who would be very kind to share with us some more information about the programs that the Knowledge Society Science Education and Innovations program is developing and working on as part of the Institute of Philosophy and Sociology at the Bulgarian Academy of Science, because as already discussed previously before the webinar sessions and during these webinars, these 2 days, we don't only have the universities engaged, but different accredited institutes in both countries. So I would be more than happy to welcome Alexei Pamporov, who was very kind, despite his schedule today, to join us. Alexei, it's my pleasure to welcome you. We know each other with Alexei for many years now. He has been also researching with me different subjects in relation to human trafficking and some more sociological researches. So it would be really interesting to hear something more about how is the Academy of Science participating in such kind of possible programs.
Thank you, Brianna. And I'm sorry from speaking from a car, but I had to be on the move at the moment. Bulgarian Academy of Sciences is the biggest research institution in Bulgaria, and it's mainly doing research, different type, and our institute is one of the biggest among this Academy of Sciences. It's about 120 researchers. I'm going to speak, however, I'm going to speak most about sociological department, and especially the Department of Society of Knowledge, where we are doing rather applied research. And as far as understood, you're interested mainly in that part of our job. So we are doing different things of research, cooperating with international organizations like, for example, UNHCR, UNICEF, FRA. We are doing research for different public and state institutions. As you mentioned already, we have done the monitoring on anti-trafficking strategy in Bulgaria, the study on, we have experience doing mapping and pre-identification of victims of trafficking. It really depends on the demand, on the call. I would proudly say that we are quite successful as an institute, not only as a department. We got a reward a couple of years ago that the best institute in Bulgaria for attracting European money. We have a success rate on applying for international project, which is about 20%, I think, of applications, which I believe it's very good rates. Recently, we are applying on 4 projects on Horizon 2020. Yesterday we just approved the projects, and we started for the current code, and I think we are in 3 projects at the moment, and very different. And the topics are various, mainly social exclusion of children, of youth, exclusion of labor market, poverty. Me myself, I work very much on asylum seekers, like the current case with Ukrainian refugees. I have 20 years experience working in Romani neighborhoods, in segregated quarters, and we are a pretty good team as a department. We are 26 persons out of this 120 at the institute, so we are the biggest department as well. We have 3 professors, 6 associate professors, very good structures, and with young assistants and numerous PhD students. We have developed, because of Erasmus exchange, that's one of the things that we have discussed with you before. We have developed several courses, methodological, like on applied sociology, for example, on the public sociology, sampling methods and things like this. Because of Erasmus projects, they are already developed in English. So for us, will be easy to adjust and to have a partnership with any university or research institution in UK, which is interested of student exchange, or so we are able to provide. Our institute has his own fieldwork network, so we can conduct any type of qualitative and quantitative research, and we do have experience with randomized controlled trials. For example, I have done 7 years of research for Denver University in USA for their nurse family program, and it was a randomized trial, RCT. But at the same time, I have a really good experience, and my colleagues of mine as well, several colleagues of mine, with participatory research in the ghettos, for example, or recently we are trying to develop a program of participatory active research of Ukrainian refugees. I hope we will succeed to raise some funds and to be able to include 4 or 5 Ukrainians. The Ukrainians in Bulgaria are 68% of them are with tertiary education. We have a lot of academicians, but because of EU regulations, it's very hard to employ them. So we are trying to make, we are flexible as institution. We are able to establish laboratories or research groups. So we are just looking now for how to include and to support, because there are a lot of people coming from social science, from Ukraine, which can do and continue their job in Bulgaria, and I hope we will succeed. So my current efforts and my current fight is helping our Ukrainian friends, let's say it like this, and doing research at the same time for benefit for EU, for Bulgaria, and for Ukrainian society. So briefly, that's what I wanted to say. I'm able to answer any questions on structures or infrastructure or projects or whatever you are interested in more in detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexei. Could you tell us a little bit more about the program that you already have developed under the Erasmus EU program?
So it depends on the requirement of the students. It's not once and forever fixed, but we have a set of courses, and simply students have to pick them up. If there are, I think, 5 or 7, it depends on the funding, but we are just starting. For example, what to say? We are trying to train them in applied sociology in all techniques of sampling, for example, of how to present data, how to dig quantitative data. So it's a very complex. it really depends on demand, but everything which relates to data gathering, to data presentation, to data development, qualitative coding. We work in the grounded theory very much. We use Atlas T and NVivo. So it really depends on the students' demands, and there are some courses which are related to specific issues like poverty, like Roma people. So it's quite broad. The good thing is that what I am able to promise is that we are updating now our brochure, like info, small leaflet, what we are doing, what projects, what people, who are the people, what are the topics, and this should be ready no more than in 2 weeks, something like this, edited already and available for distribution. So I can send you link or the PDF file, and you will be able to provide our UK colleagues with all this information, so they contact each one of us. I'm really not able to speak about topics of 120 people in the institute. I'm not aware of the current project of any colleagues. I'm deputy head of the department of my department, and I'm member of the scientific council of the institute, and I'm chairperson of the general assembly of our institute. So let's introduce why I'm speaking behalf of the institute. But anyway, I'm not aware of the projects of everybody, and it will be better we may organize a webinar with our institute, a half day or 1 day. So it's I bet there will be a huge interest from a lot of people. So we are ready and happy to collaborate. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. We have actually a question from Janet, who's co-moderating the sessions as well, and actually she's asking, given the Academy of Science strong focus on research and PhD training, would split site PhD training be of interest?
We are licensed for PhD training in our institute for sociology, culture studies, socio-anthropology, and philosophy. And in philosophy, ethics, logics, ontology. So we have according to the Bulgarian requirements of the Ministry of Education, I think we have 12 certificates in different disciplines. So we provide a broad PhD training. Unfortunately, there was a change. We used to have MA students as well, master students, but there was a current change in legislation. So recently we don't provide such courses, but we are able to as well, if it's agreed with some university. I used to have also between the Erasmus some Swiss students. So it is possible. There was a MA students. They was doing their fieldwork here. So I was supervising the work. So it's possible. It's feasible. This is the good thing. This is the huge advantage of Academy of Sciences, that it's more flexible and has this more independent approach. You don't have to go to the headquarters of Academy of Sciences. Like you don't have to, like it's like in Germany. You don't have to approach the Max Planck Society, but precise Max Planck Institute is the same here. You just have to contract with, to do the contract with us, and we are flexible of establishing research groups or laboratories and provide training through this thing. So it's
that's very important, actually, this flexibility.
It's very flexible.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for joining. I don't know if
Thank
you'll
you
be
for
able
inviting me.
to
I'm
stay.
here for questions
Okay.
and answers. If it's needed, I will stay here online. Don't worry. I'm using my phone, unfortunately, but yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Great. Okay, we have some more participants actually from the development psychology department at the Sofia University. We have also Dr. Moya. I see him online as well. So thank you for joining from the University of East London. So whoever would like to take the floor and is ready to join the discussion, please do. And of course, use the opportunity if you have any questions for Alexei, except in the chat, you could just raise them and discuss them online, because it's more or less the idea is that we have like a roundtable discussion. Dr. Moya, do you want to join?
Sure. Thank you very much, everybody. Good afternoon, colleagues, and greetings from London. I am here representing the School of Education and Communities at UEL, as we call it, and thank you very much for the invitation. I would like to start off by saying that the University of East London is a global university. That's our philosophy. We work with the locale, which is possibly the east of London, as our main center of operation, but at the same time, we are an international university in the process of trying to find new partners to expand the areas of study and research that we currently have. The School of Education and Communities is divided into 4 main departments. One of them is social sciences, and within social sciences we are offering different provision in relation to, for example, human rights, in relation to NGO training and immigration and migration studies, with a focus on the development of support network. We also have been working very actively with Ukrainian students and colleagues joining us, and certainly it has been a very interesting experience. And we are currently training colleagues from the Ukraine, which is really a real honor for us to host this particular type of provision. In relation to that's only one aspect of the Department of Social Sciences within the school. There are opportunities for students to study at a degree level and a postgraduate level, particularly doing masters, and also PhD. At this moment in time, we are working in partnership with the British Association of Social Sciences, and we have an agreement with many different organizations. One of them is UNESCO, for which we have a very active portfolio of research. In relation to psychology, we work in collaboration with the School of Psychology, which is another area of the university, and in particular we place a lot of emphasis on the collaboration for the training of educational psychologists. This is where our main focus of collaboration with that particular school comes from. I don't know if any of the participants have any connections in relation to educational psychologists, but it would be really interesting to know if you offer this type of provision. In terms of teacher training and development, we offer courses in initial teacher education, again at a graduate level and postgraduate level, not only in teaching and learning, but also in leadership in educational settings. And we place a particular emphasis in the development of leaders in higher education. We have been working in collaboration with the British Council and overseas institutions in developing high caliber human resources in the area of higher education. And currently we are providing what we call the postgraduate certificate in academic practice in order to give a certain qualification or accreditation for university lecturers in order to excel at what they're doing. And we also have the Department of Social Service, where we train different professionals in the area of education and care in terms of community development and engagement, social services in a broad sense of the word. And it's really interesting because this is a regulated profession in the UK, but at the same time we are offering the very same program to universities in different parts of the world, especially in Brazil. So we have a kind of a very local focus, but at the same time, as I said at the beginning, a very kind of international perspective, and we nurture ourselves with the work we normally engage with partners around the world. It would be lovely to develop further links with Bulgarian colleagues and universities to strengthen our work and learn from each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is like really inspiring, and I am sure that we have actually some colleagues here. Alexei himself is a sociologist, but following all that you mentioned in terms of subjects very closely. We also have Professor Kamelia Hancheva, who would be speaking on behalf of the development psychology and within the philosophy faculty of the Sofia University as well. So I think that that's definitely some collaboration insights could come out of this, minding that also what you mentioned about educational psychologists, this is something to be further enhanced, I think, especially here in Bulgaria. And it's something that we constantly, in a way, discuss with, not only with institutions, but also with different non-governmental organizations that in a way provide, usually they have the pool of experts working with them, and they usually provide such kind of specialists to consult in schools or in other entities. So it's definitely a subject to be further explored, I think, and colleagues would be probably reaching out and asking for some further exchange.
Thank you very much. And yes, any sort of collaboration is really very welcome. And I'm pretty sure that we are a university open to making international links, because we believe that the future of education is actually by cooperating one with another. So this is our philosophy, this is our strength, and any expressions of interest in partnering with us is really very welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moya. And I'll just jump in by inviting Professor Hancheva, who is specifically working in the area of psychology and has quite a lot of experience for many years now, including some specific programs, because both you, Dr. Moya, and Professor Pomporov before that mentioned Ukrainian refugees and working on the issues of migration. I think Professor Hancheva has also a lot to share in terms of this subject. So, Professor Hancheva, I'm very glad to welcome you in this session, joining, I think, from Berlin, or...
Yes, currently I'm in Berlin. Thank you so much for inviting and organizing this wonderful event. I would like to speak briefly about the expertise and the what we have managed to actually develop in terms of educational programs at Sofia University, because initially it was based on the experience of especially UK Brickbat College. So what I consider a golden standard in many ways of development of psychological interventions and also educational program is what UK model presents, UK model of university education. So for over 25 years, we have a master program and a PhD program, both accredited by the National Agency of Accreditation. For developmental psychology, it is a joint developmental and school psychology. And this is a program very well established in cooperation with the Child Psychiatric Clinic. So this is the only master program in the area which is in collaboration with a medical institution, which we consider quite important. And the focus of the master program is a really broad competence of our students for the practical work in both clinical settings and educational settings. And we have developed for Erasmus students over half of the courses in English. So I believe we would be highly interested in cooperating for a joint degree or a double degree in this area. This is one thing I would like to mention. And the other would be my expertise for over 10 years with a German university working on social trauma in the post-totalitarian and post-war societies, and also with the refugees. This project, led by the International Psychoanalytic University in Berlin, has joined people from ex-Yugoslavian countries, Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, and Germany. And we have explored and published several books and textbooks on social trauma, both practical work, practical field work, but also research. So in the uneasy situation in Europe nowadays, not that it has been easy for the last decade, but I believe we could cooperate on this, because it has been developed as the postgraduate course, social trauma course for 7 universities. At the moment, it is taught in 7 universities. Usually, we have developed it and taught it in summer schools, but it is possible to shift and change a little bit the framework. What I mean is, this is a ready program, and for the 10 years, over 800 students have taken this course. This is not a qualification, this is a postgraduate additional course, but I believe it's highly practically and also research oriented, and could be of interest for joining other universities and programs and developing a collaboration, because yes, we have a unique national situations in terms of legislation, and it is a bit difficult to imagine how competences in the sphere of education or clinical work could be transferred in a completely different social and legislational context, but nevertheless work with traumatized individuals, especially young people and children, has a lot of common ground, and we could all contribute to taking care of young people and children in Europe. That would be from me for now.
Well, that was, it was quite short, at the same time, quite right to the point, and very practical, because it also somehow reflects not only the really great experience that you've been having and developing the program, but also providing, it's like an open door and invitation for others to join. And in relation to trauma, unfortunately, it's something that can be really, wouldn't really matter what is the legislation or whatever context, probably the geographical context from where people would come from, depending on their cultural specifics, but still it's something that could be really explored much more further. And I think both colleagues, previously speaking colleagues, could join the discussion here, minding the experience of not only of migrants from different backgrounds, not only from Ukraine, but let's say from the Middle East, and also how to engage especially young people into the educational system, minding the trauma experience. So it's all relevant discussions, but also, as Alexei mentioned, different minority groups who are also very much traumatized, minding that they are usually excluded. So it's, I think, all relevant subjects that would require collaborations, like on the side of higher education institutions. And I'm very glad that we have our partners from the Ministry of Education and Science who are supporting us, the Bulgarian Ministry of Education and Science, and would be hopefully finding ways together with the British Council, with the backup of the British Embassy, to speed up a little bit some of these bureaucratical processes in relation to how we could think of developing joint programs, so it would take a much less time than usual. Any questions toward our speakers? Janet, do you have anything you would like to probably come in and ask?
Thank you. I think that it's the sessions from this morning until now are giving us a good sense that there is a strong willingness to engage on both sides. And I think a possible discussion might help us to how do we constructively take this conversation forward, and to just enable people-to-people contacts. I mean, for me, I think one of the possibly pleasant surprises is that there are already programs that have been developed in the English language with the view to facilitate incoming students, mainly from the EU, who are trained in English. And as such, there is embedded capabilities for English teaching at the institutions on this call. I guess I wonder whether it is worth developing a brief profile of each partner with a clear expression of the areas where they're seeking collaborations. I think that what became also quite clear here is that many of the conversations we're talking about a postgraduate level, masters and PhD students. And like for the Academy of Sciences, I wasn't aware that there is a way to kind of bypass this, shortcut in terms of forging such arrangements without going to the very top level of kind of executive decision making. And for the bachelor's programs, again, the presentation we had from Dejan Radev was really inspiring in terms of there are programs already taught in the English language, but how can we formalize arrangements with other institutions if we're talking about kind of two-way flow of students as part of this jointly developed new program, potentially, and how do we promote it? And I guess I can see that Ms. Ivana Radonova is back in the session. Is there a way that we can actually seek support from policymakers in Bulgaria to pilot this program, give it a push, and encourage these collaborations to really take off with a kind of more light touch accreditation process in place? Because I'm very mindful that this is a process that can be quite lengthy and may take us a while to establish. But is there a way to fast track those programs and just run a pilot, see what works, what doesn't work? What can we learn from this experience and possibly go more boldly in future collaborations? So it's kind of, it's an open invitation for thoughts on. I'm very mindful that Edinburgh and Napier and Swansea and University of East London, you've got such fantastic track record in forging T&E programs. You've done it for such a long time. It's decades worth of experience that you can bring to the table.
Yeah, actually, I probably before Ivana Radomova from the Ministry of Education could join with some thoughts about the fast track of such kind of programs. Maybe Lucy Reynolds could join, or the rest of the colleagues, because they specifically wanted to present their programs in the UK as well. So yeah, just use the opportunity to discuss a bit more, and probably for the Bulgarian colleagues to hear some more of the programs that you have.
Hi, yes, I don't have a presentation to share to hand, but just to say I'm from the University of Strathclyde, which is based in Glasgow, and we've been running collaborations across the university for a number of years now. So I work specifically with the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, and we have a number of specific academic areas, such as education, which is our largest. So we deal with teaching through from primary school through to professional leadership programs as well. And that's through from bachelor's to postgraduate to research, and as I say, CPD, professional training for teachers that are currently actively teaching. In addition to that, we have government and public policy, humanities, law, which is our second largest school as well, psychological sciences and health. That's been quite interesting hearing some of the discussion about those areas. That's something we'd be certainly keen to explore, and that's mostly in the areas of kind of clinical health as well, but also child health and child development as well is one of the main areas for one of our sort of research groupings. Social work and social policy as well is another kind of area where a number of our academics are involved in government support and providing social policy, public policy guidance to a variety of public bodies as well as other institutions and research projects. So we have a very broad range of social studies and education provision. We've got in-country programs that currently running or have been running in the likes of Pakistan, Jordan, a number in discussion just now with a number of other areas. Erasmus exchange, PhD collaboration as well. So again, a lot of experience within our faculty within the different schools. So we'd be interested to find out more. The Scottish degree is 4 years as well, the bachelor's degree, which is good, a good matchup for the Bulgarian 4-year bachelor's program. We have a number of articulation exchanges as well. That's not really been something that I've picked up on with Bulgarian institutions, but we have a number of overseas arrangements with articulation. So a student would do their degree and then come on to our master's program, for example. I'm sure the other UK universities that are here as well have similar kind of articulation agreements. That's quite common in the UK. So yeah, I'm interested to know a little bit more about the models, which has been discussed a little bit. Maybe what's worked, what hasn't worked would be useful to know a little bit more about, perhaps after these initial discussions. And you mentioned, there's been a bit of mentioning here about bureaucratical delays, perhaps, and anything that you know, pulling together. How do we push these forward? How do we help make these kind of collaborations work? So I'm kind of interested to know a little bit more about maybe others' experiences of maybe dealing with international collaboration, or I say what's worked, what hasn't. Is there ways that we can work with accreditation issues in Bulgaria to push these collaborations forward, hopefully in the future? But yes, it's something we're very interested in. So so that's a brief overview of what we can do.
Yeah, actually, we plan to present the questions to both the colleagues that are partnering with us from the Ministry of Education and the Accreditation Agency. We have, I mentioned yesterday that during one of the sessions, that we actually do already have some very successful TNE partnerships between Bulgarian and UK universities, and not only. So I'm sure that even if there are some obstacles, initial obstacles, we could discuss them in order to, how to say, in a way, try to find doors, and we could, as Janet mentioned, fast track a bit some of the programs, probably pilot some initiatives in order to see how things could be going. I don't know if Professor Hamcheva has mining her experience also in the Sofia University, but if there are some programs that they've been doing together with, as she mentioned, 7 universities have joined forces in a way. So I'm sure that there are ways to overcome what you were just mentioning. Thank you.
Just to say, this has been really useful, these sessions. So thank you very much for putting them together and allowing me for Strathclyde to attend. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's about seeing people and in a way seeing possible partners. It's all about communication and just, you know, exchanging ideas and seeing this well, positive feedback from both sides. So yeah, we're glad if we could further facilitate this whole communication. You know, this is just like a very small start and small steps, initial steps. So I'm sure that there is a lot more we could be doing.
Great, thank you.
Just a short, a kind of an answer to how it was possible to coordinate 7 universities. Actually, it was not a joint degree. So in terms of administration, every university introduced this 6-credit, 60 hours course the way it was possible and applicable for the local regulations. And it was possible for the people to join and for a huge number of students to join, because we have done this in summer schools. So probably if we start in a little steps, not going for the joint degree, but introducing a kind of module that we could provide together in the form of summer school or something like that, and build on further on this basis a broader program or part of a program or a huge model that might be a way to overcome administrative difficulties.
Yeah, actually, we were discussing that summer schools and shorter programs could be definitely an option in order just to pilot the idea and bring together the different teams from the side of the academia. Janet, you have something more to add? Unfortunately, our colleague from the Ministry of Education is not able to join us right now, but she'll definitely come back with very concrete answers to these questions. So I'm going to pose to all of the participants in this session some of the answers to what we've been all discussing in a way.
Dobby, may I step in? I'm sorry, just
yeah, of course, please do.
I was trying to raise a hand, but that what I was mentioning, the laboratory or research group, that this could be done. You can have a joint laboratory, even it's feasible and possible according to Bulgarian legislation. We can do a joint thing between Sofia University, Bulgarian Academy of Sciences, and several universities. We have done something like this 10 years ago with some French we have a Francophone part in our institute. So they have done this with several French institutes together with New Bulgarian University and Sofia University. So it's possible, feasible. It's a matter of will and matter of funding. So if there is a kind of a possible available funding, it's easy to work, structure, and do. Then within this laboratory we can have several courses. So it's a matter of really of a project and the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences is really a really flexible institution in that respect. So we can welcome, host any kind of joint research and then just like administrating them and of course working with the colleagues.
Can I step in here? I really enjoyed your presentation, Alexei, and can I just establish that the Academy of Sciences, you have degree awarding powers for PhD students, independent from Sofia University?
Yes, definitely. We are licensed or accredited for more than 12 different. I mean, the main areas are sociology and philosophy. But within philosophy, as I said, I'm able to send you the whole list of these disciplines. But as many as departments we have, each one of it is licensed, and especially we are very much interested in education study. That's why we have Sociology of Knowledge and Education, Science and Education, and Innovation. And I am proud to say that in our department, in my department, works Pepka Bujagieva. She got last year she got an international award for her study in adult education. So it's we are really much interested in we work a lot of half of our work is in the field of education. So it's we are happy and welcome to do a lot of things like this.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you. And just for sake of doing a little bit of translation work, am I right to distinguish that the kind of the difference between the universities in Bulgaria and the Academy of Science? Most of the research used to be concentrated in the Academy of Sciences in the past, whereas the universities were mainly teaching institutions, but over the past 30 years, research was embedded as part of the universities as well, no longer just concentrated in the Academy of Sciences, but the Academy of Sciences retained its status as research institutes.
Yes, it's still the main. There was a certain period in which they wanted to transform us as research university or something like this, but this idea was it's not on the table anymore. But anyway, I mean that's why I made analog with Max Planck. The Academy of Sciences is structured in Bulgaria. It's very much as the Max Planck Institute in Germany, but we have independent right of awarding PhD certificates and training. So we have even 3 different types of PhD students. So we have regular PhD students, which are getting scholarships, which is a normal scholarship provided in Bulgaria as a amount. We have how to translate this? It's how. Dobby, could you help me? Zadochin. I don't know how to translate this.
Part-time PhD.
But this is so the regular it's 3 years PhD, and they're obliged to have no other jobs and things like this. We have it's okay. Could be part-time PhD. They have a 4 years study. They just have to pass 5 exams on the subjects and to write a PhD, and they have 4 years. But this is usually for people who are already in business or in the NGO sector or things like this, and don't want to improve their level or just to do the citing. And then we have a free PhD program, which means that people are coming with already half-done project or something like this. Usually we expect to read 100 or 120 pages, something like this, like the first chapter or the introduction. They are offering what they want to do. They don't pay. They don't get any scholarship. They don't any privilege, because the part-time students are and having money for research, money for traveling, for business trips, for conferences and things like this. They can use the facilities, where the free PhD students, they don't get anything. Moreover, they pay at the end for the exam, for every exam and things like this. For other students, the exams are free of charge.
It's more like the distance learning type.
It's a kind of a distance one, but you still have a supervision. You still have discussions. So the procedure of defense are the same. Just you pay for them, but then you can defend whatever you want, how long times you need. So it's you are more free to do your own pace. You're not pressed by time, things like this. And this is usually for people, I would say people over 40 who are very well established in the business. We have even Orthodox priest yesterday. We were discussing the new topic of one Orthodox priest who decided at this age to, after theology, to do some philosophy of icons and things like this in our aesthetics department. So we are really flexible. That is the I can say from my own experience. When I was a student 25, 30 years ago, that was my decision why I did my PhD in Institute of Sociology. Now I've joined part of Institute of Philosophy and Sociology. And I choose it because of this freedom. After that, I spent 2 years in Max Planck. I was 2 years in Germany in this Maria Curie joint program. So I got my training in Max Planck, but my defense was in Bulgaria because Max Planck by then was not able to to provide PhD certificates. Currently, for example, I know that they work with University of Munich, University of Rostock, with different universities. But by then, 25 years ago, it was different. While we are still the same, flexible and open. So I believe that it's a very good option. It's my life option, so I can defend it. I work in here for over 20 years, so it's really flexible and gives opportunity of flexibility in collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It seems that lifelong learning is possibly another area to possibly explore. And also working, I mean, it was really good to see so many employers joining today's conversation, because working directly with employers to provide continuous professional development is another option. And what I don't know is how developed this area is. Is it something that's already happening with the Bulgarian institutions in terms of whether it's happening online or hybrid?
Well, I think it depends on the flexibility of the institutions. Some have well-established such kind of public-private partnerships with employers, with institutions. There are so many research options, for example, when it comes to research that could be possibly part of PhD programs that could be elaborated between an academia institution and a governmental or international organization. So there are different options. Plus, as Professor Hancheva mentioned, there are other entities in a way involved in many of these programs, like the psychiatric clinic, and there are ways, I think, but it's a matter of flexibility also from the side of the teams working within the institutes or the universities.
I can give an example. We are doing a kind of a I think according to Bulgarian legislation, it's called specialization. So I have been doing such training courses for social workers, for example, how to work with Roma communities. It was together with the Ministry of Labor, and I have done for the Ministry of Education training on how to recognize human trafficking in human beings, and how to prevent trafficking in human beings. There was small, like 5 days courses, 3 credits or something like this. But it could be done. There are such possibilities in Bulgaria. I'm not sure that it reflects the level 4 of training in the international educational framework. But still, it's for teachers and for social workers in Bulgaria. Our institute is doing such trainings if there is such a demand from public institutions. That's why in the beginning I started with that we do closely with a lot of ministries and municipalities, and doing monitoring or trainings or research. So it's a part of our job. That's why we are a kind of applied department. Yeah.
So this is very much in the space of teacher training and professional development, really. That it's not necessarily a degree. It's more like certificate.
That's what we are doing. Yeah.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And probably minding that we have like a very short time before, let's say, gathering up with colleagues that will be discussing a bit more in details their medicine programs or programs in relation to medicine and biology and biotechnology. probably I would suggest that we merge the sessions, minding that we have like 5 minutes left until the end, until the beginning of next session, and just asking participants if they have some final comments or questions toward Professor Hancheva, Professor Pamporov, or Dr. Moya, and so we could swiftly, in a way, try to continue with medicine and biotechnology. Probably, yeah, we won't be able to really have some minutes for a break, but I think it will be quite tight in terms of presentations from the side of colleagues. So if there are no more questions, maybe so that the colleagues yeah, could leave if they have, of course, something else to do. If not, please, you're more than welcome to stay with us and maybe ask some questions toward the next speakers.